Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, April 28th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. It'll be mostly cloudy day with possible showers and a high of 90 degrees in San Antonio today. The White House has tapped Harris County's Sheriff Ed Gonzalez to lead the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the agency that Gonzalez challenged under former President Donald Trump. Gonzalez wasn't the only Texan in national politics news yesterday, though. Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller is suing the federal government over a program that provides debt relief to racially and ethnically diverse farmers and ranchers that he says discriminates against white ones, including himself. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. Flanked by Texas DPS troopers in front of the Freeman Coliseum earlier this month, Governor Greg Abbott said the state child and family welfare officials had received complaints of sexual assault and neglect at the temporary facility for unaccompanied immigrant minors. The facility is operated by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and its Office of Refugee Resettlement. His claims on the staff shortage, the lack of supervision and meals for the children were quickly debunked by county officials. One county official said U.S. Health and Human Services had also told county officials there was no complainant and that the governor's claims could not be substantiated. Asked to respond Tuesday, Abbott's office stood by his claims. Guillermo Contreras has more on this story over at expressnews.com. San Antonio ISD has chosen nearly 200 teachers for a $2 million, mostly state-funded program that could add up to $36,000 in their annual salaries. It already has a program that offers extra money to master teachers to work in schools serving low-income neighborhoods, but the district's leaders say the new program, dubbed Master Teacher Initiative 2.0, will double the existing incentive and reshape the way teachers get paid in the city and across the state. Dania Perez has more on how the program will work in her latest article. Texas's population grew by 4 million over the past decade to more than 29 million. That translates to 2 new congressional districts and 2 more electoral college votes. The new census numbers continue the long-established trend of population loss or stagnation in the industrial Midwest and Northeast and population growth in the Sun Belt. But there are a few twists. And even though Texas was the only state in the country to pick up 2 seats, census watchers in this state are unhappy. Gilbert Garcia tells us why in his latest article. Now that supplies are increasing and more locations are offering limited walk-in access to inoculations, we have everything you need to know about the COVID-19 vaccine. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention eased its guidelines on the wearing of masks outdoors, saying fully vaccinated Americans don't need to cover their faces anymore unless they're in a big crowd of strangers. U.S. News & World Report has released its annual ranking of the best public high schools in the country. We have the top 10 public high schools in the San Antonio area according to the report over on our website. President Joe Biden on Tuesday announced he will nominate Gina Ortiz-Jones, an Air Force veteran who twice ran to represent a San Antonio area swing district in Congress, as the branch's undersecretary. Proposition A on the San Antonio election ballot has managed to make people on both ends of the political spectrum uncomfortable. The proposed charter amendment was one of the topics covered in this week's installment of our Puro Politics podcast. Lulu's Bakery and Cafe, known for its iconic 3-pound cinnamon rolls, is closing for good, but will give its customers the opportunity to take a piece of the popular restaurant home with them. Aiming to capitalize on workplace shifts brought on by the coronavirus pandemic, the Pearl is adding a co-working space. The 10,000 plus square foot area includes meeting rooms, open seating, phone booths, private offices, and a kitchen. A Bexar County grand jury has indicted a jail detention officer in connection with the beating of an inmate in May. A San Antonio company that helps robots see is picturing expansion after raising $33 million from investors. The funding round is the latest win for Plus One Robotics after strong business growth throughout 2020. Troubles have followed oil and gas producer Abraxas Petroleum Corporation into 2021, and the San Antonio-based company could be kicked off the NASDAQ market this year. Federal judges in the southern half of Texas recently voted to move 2 judgeships to border towns from other cities because of increasing caseloads bogging down the border jurists. San Antonio knows exactly how fortunate it has been to watch one of the best clutch players in the league perform over and over again, even if the city doesn't know it. Read the latest on DeMar DeRozan from sports columnist Mike Finger. Regarding the country's moral duty to help the world get vaccinated, the Express News editorial board writes, quote, "The United States has more than enough other vaccines to cover every American. Our efforts must also reach beyond our borders." In a state where 1 in 6 people is an immigrant and tens of thousands are becoming naturalized citizens each year, Republicans know their grip on power is fragile, writes Cristina Tinsun Ramirez, the executive director of Next Gen America. In his latest Accelerator column, Brandon Lingo asks us to remember the types of conflicts we learned in English class. Humans versus humans, humans versus nature versus technology, destiny and society. And their subcategories: citizens versus business and government, a fast-moving corporation versus federal bureaucracy, pristine wilderness versus development, technology versus physics, fans versus opponents, past versus future. On becoming an interplanetary species versus depending solely on Earth. Some would say survival versus extinction. The list goes on. These conflicts are the marrow of amazing stories in SpaceX Boca Chica venture, so it's easy to get drawn in. Read the rest of the column in collaboration with Report for America over at expressnews.com. Most abuelas make cookies and hot chocolate for their grandchildren. Estela Mering whips up tabletop Ferris wheels and dinosaur merry-go-rounds. You won't believe her Titanic, Big Ben, Eiffel Tower, and carousels are made with just popsicle sticks and skewers. Rene Guzman has that story over at expressnews.com. A Dominion home so big it comes with its own elevator hit the market this week for almost $2 million. We have the photos over at expressnews.com. Tickets go on sale at 11 a.m. Thursday for a new drive-in concert by Bon Jovi. We have everything you need to know about the show coming to the Stars and Stripes Theater near San Antonio over on our website. A new tiki bar and new Asian restaurant will open on the Riverwalk within the next few days. Both are downtown in the Whitty Building on Commerce Street near the Esquire Tavern. MacArthur's Madison Collins is thriving as the team's full-time pitcher. She leads the area with 223 strikeouts this season. Collins and the Brams open the Class 6A playoffs tonight with a best-of-3 series against East Central. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing from Wednesday, April 28th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcasts app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.